Thank you, Not Norman, for getting us revved up today. Let's hear it for Not Norman! Good afternoon. I'm Millie Torres Ruiz, and this is my story. I was born and raised here in Jamestown, New York, and grew up knowing my Italian and Puerto Rican heritage. And I was just saying to a friend of mine, Susan, here, as we were walking down the stairs, I remember coming here as a child. So it's beautiful to be back, and it's been a while. I was lucky enough to also continue my education and to have two beautiful daughters of my own. I'm a public school teacher who enjoys expanding the world of my students by teaching them a second language, Spanish, and about so much culture found in the Spanish-speaking countries and areas in our world. Please welcome Tim Starr.
Hi everybody, welcome Jamestown. Thank you for coming to join us today. I know the weather is a little bit less than wonderful, so thanks for being hardy Western New Yorkers and coming to hear what all of our candidates have to say today. My name is Tim Starr. I work with Chautauqua Progressives, and I'd ask your forbearance with me a little bit. I've never really done this before, so kind of bear with me. I came to talk to you today about healthcare. That's something that's been very important and in not only my life, but in pretty much the lives of everybody that I know, it's been important. Many years ago, my mom grew up here in Chautauqua County. I'm a native of Chautauqua County. My mom went off to college. She met my father, who fell in love with him. But there was just one little thing that was a hiccup that they had to deal with. And that is that at the ripe old age of 15, my dad, back in the 1950s, was diagnosed as a type 1 juvenile brittle diabetic. Now, for those of you who may not know what that means, that is the most severe type of diabetes that you can possibly be diagnosed with. And back in the 50s, the prognosis for that was that you had a 5 to 10 year life period. And I cannot imagine my grandparents being told that their 15-year-old son had pretty much 5 years left to live. I can't imagine what that was like. I can't imagine what that was like for my dad either. Well, somehow or other, he managed to make it through college, met my mom, married, fell in love, raised 2 kids. They moved back here to Chautauqua County, and he started work right up the road, up here, at the old Crescent Tool Factory. Right up there on Foote Avenue. And I don't know how many of you remember the sound that Crescent Tool used to make. The heavy-duty clanking and clanging and ringing that every time I drive past that building, I think about that when I went to go pick up my dad with my mom from work. Well, back in 1970-71, my dad came home from work at Crescent Tool and he said to my mom, "I have something that I have to tell you. And I'm not sure I've got it right, and I'm not sure it's for real." And she's like, "What on earth are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, they told us at work that we now have something called major medical." And for those of you who may not be familiar with that term or who haven't heard it in a very long time, major medical was kind of the generic catch-all term for health insurance back in the day. And that meant that roughly 80% of massive coverage costs were covered by insurance. And it also meant that prescriptions were vastly reduced and doctor visits suddenly became affordable. As life went on, things started happening to me too, and I have a couple of chronic conditions that I now have to pay for medicines every day of my life for the rest of my life. And just one of those medicines, if I were to buy it on the open market, would cost about $4,000 a month. So, healthcare, as you can imagine, is pretty important to me too. Some of you might remember last year, during the first year of President Trump administration, he threatened, he didn't do it, but he threatened to withhold payments to the insurance exchanges for the Affordable Care Act. And just the threat was something that caused so much chaos in the insurance markets that everybody went into a tizzy, and I said to myself, you know what? Pay attention to this, because next October, when open annual enrollment comes, it's going to cost you. And you know what? Last October, when it came time for me to sign up for my health care for the exact same insurance plan for two people went from $7,000 a year to $12,000 a year, $1,000 a month. And that was just because President Trump threatened to withhold payment. Now, those of you who've been paying close attention might remember that this year he actually did just what he threatened. He withheld those payments in an attempt to sabotage the Affordable Care Act and the ability of every American to get affordable health insurance. So this month, at the end of the month, I don't know what's going to happen. And thankfully, we've got a couple of candidates here today. Tracy Matrano, running for our Congress, and Judy Inak, running for New York Assembly. And both of them, thankfully, are pledged to finding solutions to create universal health care in this nation. Something which, by the way, 80% of every nation on earth has managed to do. What I ask you, what I implore you, is remember one thing. Life is a pre-existing condition. Life is a pre-existing condition. It's not a question of if you're going to need health care and if you're going to need help. It's a question of when and how often. And for an awful lot of us, the question is today, every day, and every day for the rest of our lives. So I implore you, it is time to hold our politicians accountable. It is time to take to our feet and take to the polls. It is time to vote Democratic, because it is the Democratic Party that has repeatedly proven that they have our best interest at heart. It is the Democratic Party and the Democratic candidates, and thank you so much, Tracy and Judy, for being here today. But it's our, and Joe, yes, absolutely, I'm sorry. I don't think you have anything to do with healthcare, but thank you for being So, please vote for our candidates. Please give them your attention today. Please give them all of the encouragement and cheer and support that you can. And thank you, Jamestown, for coming out and supporting us in this lovely October weather.
I've been really enjoying the band, not Norman, but I'm here to tell you, I'm Norman Green, Chairman of the Chautauqua County Democratic Committee. I am so proud of what is going on here today in a terrible, terrible, terrible day. A day that we did not dream would happen, and we have many brave souls that have shown up today, and it says a lot for the spirit of Chautauqua County, who has the vision of that we can take care of many people, we can take care of our people that need help. It is so proud, I am so proud today to be introducing the Lieutenant Governor of the state of New York, Kathy Hochul.
I am so fired up about this election. I have to tell you, personally, this is my 12th election. I've been doing this a little bit of time, as Norm told you my background, but this is the one that makes the most difference in my lifetime, because this is when we take back our country. And I am sick and tired of all the, I'll watch my language, I'm sick and tired of all the stuff that's going on in Washington, because that is not the America that I grew up in and the America that I love. So we have a 2-year more blip in history. This will go down as an asterisk, okay? I'm never going to acknowledge that there even was a presidency. It's just an asterisk in my history book. And in 2 years, we'll change that. But in the meantime, as we have seen, 2 years can be long and painful. And look at the damage that has been done by Donald Trump in just a 2-year period. He has tried to destroy rights that we have taken for granted my entire life. Women's right to choose on the chopping block because of his Supreme Court nominees. That can't stand in our United States of America any longer. We're going to fight back for women's rights. Hell, we're going to codify Roe v. Wade here in the state of New York in January when we take back the New York State Senate, and I, as the leader of the Senate, will preside and call on Majority Leader Andrea Stewart Cousins. Yes, indeed. How does that sound? We're also going to stop the assault on working men and women with the Janus decision, because this is the most unionized state in America, and we're proud of that. Labor unions built the middle class. My grandparents, my father worked at the steel plant up the road in Lackawanna, and that's how we live the American dream like so many people here in Chautauqua County. And we're not giving up on the working men and women of our country. We're going to fight for them every single day. We're also not giving up on our families, because our families need the dignity of health care, as you heard from Tim moments ago. They need to know that we'll protect them when they get sick, when you need to take your child for preventative care, when someone's on the verge of getting diabetes, and you can stop them from a lifetime of pain just by taking care of them early. We're going to continue fighting for Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, because these are American rights that we fought for years ago and are now part of our identity. We take care of people. But all these bad things that are happening, including closing the doors to immigrants in our country. Now, where do you think most of the people in this country came from? They came from somewhere else, unless you're Native American, right? We're all immigrants. So we're going to stand here and say this is the state that has the Statue of Liberty in our harbor. We're going to stand up to say you are welcome here in the state of New York, and we'll help you become part of our family, because that's who we are. But I want to tell all these bad things that are going on, assaults on the environment, assaults on people. Donald Trump's pretty bad. But judge him by who's with him, too. You know who's with him from Chautauqua County's districts? Tom Reed is with Donald Trump, so he's part of all these problems. And what does he go to Washington to do? To fight for men and women? No, he's fighting to make sure that the millionaires and billionaires get even bigger tax breaks. I'm sorry, that's not what you're supposed to do when you go to Congress. You fight for the little people, the people who need a helping hand. And so he will pay for this. He will pay for this at the polls. You can't go out there and turn your back on New Yorkers and sell your soul to all your lobbyists, rich donor friends, and think you can get away with it, because our Democrats, our independents, and our fed-up Republicans who don't know what their party turned into are going to come in a wave this November. And you, my friends, are part of that. And I want to thank Paul and Susan for all you did with our Democratic primary. I appreciate all the support I received out of this county. 75% is my highest vote record in the entire state of New York. I thank you, Chautauqua County, for having my back. Thank you very much. But more than from the governor and myself, this is about helping the candidates who put their name out there, who are willing to step up and fight back against what's going on in Washington. And as a former member of Congress, who lost a seat by 1.5% to someone who is under now federal indictment, I'm taking back that district too, okay? So Tracy is going to have another Democrat to work with in representing Western New York in the terms of Nate McMurray. Let's help Nate as well. Let's help Nate as well. But I want to tell you, it's not just about the election, because I know we're going to outperform in turnout. We're going to blow it out of the water this November. But it's not just about Election Day. It's about the candidates who you have on the ballot. So it's not just about voting against Donald Trump and his best buddy, Tom Reed. It's about putting in place a woman of integrity and character and hard work and highly educated, and someone who understands the needs of this district because she's lived through it as a mother and as a business person, as someone who's been fighting for cybersecurity to protect us from the Russians stealing our election, which is what happened in 2016. So we are so fortunate, so blessed to have someone like Tracy Vetrano step up and say, I will do this. I'm going to serve my nation. I'm going to serve my country, and I will serve the people of this district. So ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Governor Cuomo and all the Democrats in the state of New York, I could not be prouder to endorse Tracy Vetrano here today in Jamestown for U.S. Member of Congress. Tracy Vetrano. Come on down, Tracy. Judy, she couldn't be here because she's got to be on a show. I just star and dunk her. Let's support her as well. And our sheriff. We are so fortunate to have Sheriff Joe, there's Joe Grace. I want to thank him for his support as well. We need good Democrats who understand law and order, but also understand that there's people who have rights as well. Okay, and this is the right individual who knows to strike the right balance. So thank you, Joe, as well for serving. And I want to thank all of you. You are the heart and soul of this party, and we are taking back our country because of individuals like you, and I thank you for coming out here on a rainy day that's clearing up. And all of you who aren't here today, you bring them out on election day because our country needs every one of you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Did you see that sun come out? Yeah. Hello, Jamestown. Hello, Chautauqua County. You are my best friends. When I go back east, they tell me I talk funny. They talk funny. We talk just fine here in Western New York. And I couldn't be more happy than to be your candidate for U.S. Congress. And we're going to flip that seat on November 6th. Just like that sun came out of the rain. They'd like to give us a challenge, but we're going to give it right back. Because we're going to bring opportunity back to Western New York. The beautiful areas all throughout the 23rd District, Southern Tier, and the Finger Lakes. That's what we're going to be about. And we're also going to bring about some dignity to people. What do you think of that president, the way he talks to people about disability or women or immigrants? We don't talk like that around here. And we don't want a congressman who lacks the leadership to stand up to him and say so. We don't talk like that around here. And we don't act like that around here. Because this part of the country has a heart.
Yeah.
Do you have a heart, Chautauqua County?
Yeah.
All right, that's what I thought. And that's what I believe, that's what I know, and that's what I feel. I have shared my vision for this district with many of you a lot of times, but I'm going to run through it again because we've got to get out and talk to all the people in this county, get them out to vote, and share that vision with them. We believe in a healthcare system that applies to everybody and will not break the bank. It's not socialism. It's just the right way you do business. Get those healthcare costs down, those drug costs down, and let's get healthcare to everybody. And we can do it without spiking taxes. We can do it with a heart for all the people in this country. It's absurd to have the healthcare, medical science that we have, the abilities, the hospitals, the professionals who want to give it to us. We got to get the healthcare maintenance organizations out of the way. And you know how you do it? Get Tom Reed out of the way, because he's the one who's keeping them going. What do you think of that 6 to 12% interest on those student loans? Wow. I thought the United States was about upward mobility. When I used to teach American history, people would ask me, tell me all of American history in one sentence. They'd think my mind would go googly-eyed. I'd say, the history of the United States is the history of upward mobility. And you know how we get there? Hard work, family values, community values, our neighborhoods, our friends, education, and opportunity. You know how you strangle it? Put 6 to 12% interest on student loans, and you will start to strangle the very opportunity that did indeed make this country great. We have the jewel in the crown of American society is education. We have the opportunity and ability to give every child an amazing education. What's holding us back? Greed. Greed's holding us back. Special interests are holding us back. Mr. Reed's holding us back. And it's why it's got to go. Where's the internet around here anyway? It's Facebook Live, and we're in a nice area that has it. But I'm sure you know there is probably half of the geographic expanse of this gorgeous district that does not have the internet. How can we possibly serve our farmers? How can we serve people in rural areas? How can we get the libraries to be what democracy needs and expects them to be, a place where anybody can go to get knowledge, to read, to have a community, to get on the internet when they don't have the internet because of the challenges we keep putting up in front of a natural progression of this utility. Let's talk some history. In the 1930s, President Roosevelt knew we were going to be in a war. And he looked at his country and he looked at its economy. And it said, wow, we've got great big chunks of it without electricity, our farms. Let's get electricity out there, because when we get in that war, we're going to need industrial power. And we proved ourselves superior in that area. But you know how you maintain your industrial power? Agricultural power. You cannot afford to have whole chunks of your country marginalized and outside of the thrust of the economy. Can you believe we have a representative who has not lifted a finger to help get the internet out to his own district? And then when President Trump comes in, whom he endorsed very readily in the primary, he agrees with all the deregulation without thinking. Maybe some deregulation needs to go, but some of it we need to grow our district, our country, this economy, and continue to have innovation and opportunity for working and middle class people. But we can go down the list of infrastructure. We need roads. We need transportation in this district, and I am serious. You have no public transportation from Jamestown to Olean, from Olean to Angelica or Wellsville, and that's a job killer. People tell me, well, those people who were born and grew up in the 23rd District, they don't want to go out to the farms and work. They don't want to work. I don't know if it's true or not. I know they can't get there. There's no transportation that is needed to maintain the economy. People can go to a library or go to school or go to work, but not without the transportation that this district needs. What has Tom Reed done for transportation in the 23rd in the last 8 years he's been in office? Nothing. And by the way, that is the same zero that his bipartisan little group has put through Congress to help you, Jamestown, to help you, Chautauqua. That bipartisan caucus is a fabulous PR job. And in reality, for the services we expect to come back from the taxes we pay, it's a big zero. And how about that no labels group he belongs to? You ever watch any of his commercials? Have you ever heard any of his rhetoric? What does he call the largest Democratic registration area in this entire district? Yes, he wants to marginalize it, because if he does, he'll win every time. But what are we doing? We're creating a one-district campaign. Chautauqua, we are aligned with Tompkins County. And Chemunga's aligned with Schuyler. And Tioga with Steuben and Allegheny, Cattaraugus, Yates, Seneca, and Ontario. We're all together in this race, and we're going to come together on November 6th to unseat Tom Reed. If it were up to Tom Reed, this beautiful district would be fracked, except for that little corner of Keuka Lake where he's got a cottage. He wanted that as an exception. There's no exception in the rules for people. There's no division. between the people in the East and the people in the West. There's no division between and among the rural people in this district and the urban. There is no separation or divide among the working and middle class people in this county and the 10 other counties in this district. We have every single issue in common, and one of them is to maintain the beauty of this district and not let it be despoiled by external interests that want to come in, exploit it, and leave. Yes. Let's have a federal anti-fracking act to end the despoiling and medical harmful materials left by that process. We are also going to address water quality. It's in every system, from Chautauqua Lake all the way to the Susquehanna. It's a serious problem, and we can address it. We need the federal government, however, to align with the states and align with municipalities so that agriculture can work with environmentalists, so that municipalities can make sure that the streams are cleared out, things don't back up, wash over our waterways. I have seen in Schuyler County cabins that got flown right in to Lake Seneca. And on the other side, in Seneca County, the mud that was up to the first floor flowing through. We could address this, and we will, and we must protect the beauty and also plan for these extreme weather events. They're here. Let's manage them. Let's work together to be sure people don't lose their property, God help us, their lives. We can protect it, but it takes planning and foresight and vision and a genuine care for the people who live here. Now I'm going to speak a moment about that tax plan. Where do I begin? Okay, that's a good start. It sucks the wealth of the working and middle class people in this country up to the 1%. We've been doing that now for 50 years. We're done. I don't mind paying my taxes. I bet you don't either, but you want to see those taxes come back in the services that we expect of the federal government. Healthy people, educated people, the right kind of infrastructure, and that there would be a leg up if you need it for the farmers. I was in Steuben County this past week in the living room of a farmer, 5 generations dairy. He said the day before I was there was the last day the milk truck came. They're not going to come to his place anymore, or his neighbors, or my friends up in Yates County. We're letting these people fail. We're not giving them a hand to help them out, and we can. The USDA used to have programs to help our farmers. Whatever happened to the butter and the cheese and the milk? That all we need is some administrative process from the USDA to get it from the farmer who wants it to go to a good place and into our schools or into our community where food pantries don't ever have enough for what the people need. The USDA can do that. The USDA can give small interest loans to farmers who need to bridge from one season to another. The federal government could and should a long time ago have given those farmers immigration reform. They want it. Many of them are Republicans. Tom Reed wouldn't even listen to them. He says he wants dreamers, but he holds dreamers hostage to something else he wants. This is a principle. This isn't a bargaining chip. Farmers need seasonal visas. They need, in the dairy industry, annual visas. The cows don't go to sleep in November and wake up in April. They need the workers there, and they do not want to be sitting there in fear of ICE showing up and shutting them down. We must change this Congress so that we can get through reasonable immigration reform. Help the farmers. Help the people who are being strangled by these economic policies. I have now looked at the numbers. You know that $1,600 that Mr. Reed loves to tell you in his town halls you are going to save as a result of this tax plan? Guess what? That's one of those magic numbers that comes about when you average everything together. So now I'll tell you the real numbers. If you're a family of 4 at about $42,000, you're going to get back about $500, maybe $600, not $1,600. Because you know how much the 1% is going to get back? In 1 year we're talking. We're just talking 1 year. $69,000. That's not fair. And I never hear him mention that number because he doesn't want you to know that he's a toady for the 1%. He's a toady for corporations. He's a toady for special interests. He doesn't want you to know that. He thinks that he's with you. He's not with you. He does not have your interests at heart. Those minuscule tax breaks are temporary, and I love the term that he uses for the 1%. They're permanent. What, did they come down from the mount? Written in stone? This is American law. We're going to flip Congress. We're going to get in there, and we're going to flip that permanent and temporary. We're going to bring back a reasonable estate tax, and we're going to make the corporations that got a break give that money into their corporations, get new workers, pay the workers better. It's not all going to go to the shareholders. We have a lot of work to do, Chautauqua and Jamestown, and I want to know, are you going to stand with me? Are you going to canvass in these next 2 weeks? Every single door you see? Are you going to bring around flyers for Joe and Judy and me and tell people this is a chance we have before it's too late to get in there and represent real people's values, working and middle class people? Are you going to stand with me for affordable health care? Are you going to stand with me for better education and get rid of those usurious loans? I want to see you stand with me for the damn internet in this district. I want to see you stand with me for the people in this county and in this city and in this district who want to join hands with you for a United States of the people, for the people, and by the people. God bless you. Let's do it on November 6th. Thank you. You rock, Chautauqua. You keep on rocking.
Thank you so much, Tracy, and we wish you well in your travels and continued success. All right, so let's get energized. Again, tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
All right. Well, I've been asked to introduce the next speaker. But I'm not much for talking, so I'm going to introduce him with a song. A little bit more would be good. I'm breaking rocks in the hot sun. I fought the law and the law won. Needed money cause I had none. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I ran against Joe and I feel so bad. I guess my race is run. Well, he's the best sheriff that we ever had. I ran against Joe and Joe won. I ran against Joe and Joe won. I ran against Joe and Joe won. I ran against Joe and Joe run. I run against Joe to be fun. Run for the Lord, but for one. I ran against Joe and be fun. I ran against Joe and Joe won. I want to show old Joe, but I got outdone. I ran against Joe and Joe won. I ran against Joe and Joe won. He's the best sheriff that we've ever had. He's Joe Girardi's son. Joe and Beverly's downright red. I ran against Joe and Joe won. 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 Hey, Joe Girardi.
everybody, coming out on this beautiful sunny day. What an introduction. That was awesome. I just want to, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. You've been out there in the cold rain. I am honored to be your sheriff. I am honored to lead one of the finest law enforcement agencies in the state of New York. Thank you. We've got a ton of wonderful people that work in the agency, and it's a very complex, multifaceted agency. Not just law enforcement, but I'm also overseeing the court security, the county jail, the 911 center, and much more. But it's the people that make us what we are. And I am proud of a lot of accomplishments. One in particular, we're one of only 6 sheriff's offices in the state of New York that have all 5 available accreditations, which means we meet or exceed the highest accepted standards in several areas: law enforcement, 911, courts, jail, and our civil division. So we're constantly testing to make sure we're doing things the best of our ability. Some other things that I'm really proud of, because of the lack of some of the EMTs that are necessary in our county for our volunteer fire services, hard time recruiting. We're seeing 2 and 3 and 4 fire departments called for 1 call. So I started training my deputies as EMTs. I myself took the training, and I'm proud to say I'm an EMT. We now have 20 full-time deputies and 9 part-time that are EMTs, and they are responding to calls. Thank you. I've embedded the EMT training in our Sheriff's Academy, so all new recruits, wherever they land in the cities or the town or villages or for the Sheriff's Office, they will have EMT training in the Academy. Another thing I'm proud of, we are the first county in New York State to have what we call a Smart 911 Center. We have Smart 911 here in Chautauqua County. It helps protect you. You need to sign up for Smart 911. Go to smart911.com, build yourself a profile. When you dial 911 with your phone, your profile is delivered to our 911 center with vital information. Help us help you. The other thing that thank you. So we're going to continue to go. I've got a lot more to do. I'm, again, honored to be your sheriff, and I want to keep being your sheriff. Thank you. God bless you.
If we give them our Social Security, they can only steal it because we give it to them. They can only take our government because we give it to them. And they can only take our country because we give it to them. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Blue Ridge Mountains. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that river of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw the Golden Valley, that Golden Valley. This land was made for you and me. I've roamed and rambled and followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of the diamond deserts. And all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. When the sun came shining, I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling, as if I was lifting, a voice was chanting. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking, I saw a sign there, and on that sign it said, no trespassing. But on the other side, it didn't say nothing. This land was made for you and me. And all the refugees, this land is your land. This land is my land, from California to New York Island, Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land shadow of the steeple, I saw my people by the relief office. I see my people as they stood there hungry. I stood there asking, is this land made for you and me? Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking that freedom highway. Nobody living can ever make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me.
All right, we're going to get started again with one more, I think one song, I'm not sure, Paul? So level 3 is going to be coming up to the stage to sing. But first, vote for a change, because most people who are registered simply do not. Vote for a change because we have elected officials to support policies that hurt rather than support average citizens, senior citizens, working people, people of color, LGBT, women and children. We need government that represents all of us. Yes, America, these United States of America belong to all of us. Thank you.